I came in with this confidence of youth that is really a protective device in a lot of ways, so that I could handle what was going on. I had this little glow, this little armor that I had created for myself that gave me the guts, that gave me the strength to pick myself up and say, top this, will ya? You know. Gidget was my first job. I had no agent. It was really one of those stories that people hear about and think, oh, they'll come and stand on the corner of Hollywood and Vine and let it happen to them. But it really was a long history before that of acting for me, and that's what's important. It was also important that it wasn't professional. I found my first stage when I was in junior high school, so I was like 13, and I never got off the stage after that. I barely graduated Birmingham High School. I mean, literally, I had to go to night school to graduate because I wouldn't go to my classes. I only was in the drama department. I grew up in a real working class show business family. My stepfather was Jock Mahoney, who was a very famous stunt man. He was an actor, but he was really a better stunt man, and quite a remarkable stunt man at that. And my mother was under contract to Paramount when I was really little, and then she became a real working class actress. So that meant one week she would have a part on Bonanza, and then she wouldn't work for a month or so, maybe longer. And then she'd have a role in Perry Mason, and she'd go to work for, you know, a week, and then she wouldn't work for a period of time. It's a really difficult life. It is not an easy life. There's very little glamour in it, and it's really hard. And that's the show business family that I grew up in. My stepfather found me a workshop for the summer that was located at Columbia Studios, which at that time was the old Columbia Studios, which was on Sunset and Gower. And it was a fabulous lot, filled full of history. I came in with this great feeling of confidence. And to join this film industry's workshop, it was called, you had to do an audition scene. So I did an audition scene with my mother, a scene from Toys in the Attic, one of Lillian Hellman's plays, which wasn't a comedy, put it that way. It was, you know, very dark and very intense and very dramatic. And there were some people there to judge you so you could get into the workshop, and I had no idea that they happened to also be the casting people from all the television companies. I joined the film industry's workshop and went to one night and really didn't like it. I didn't like how they were approaching the work, and I thought, oh, this is not the way you do it. And I was standing on the corner the night after the class was over, out in front of the studio on Sunset and Gower, and a man walked by who named Eddie Foy III, who was the casting man for Scream Jim's studio, which is the television affiliate, television arm of Columbia Pictures. And he had been also on this panel of people judging the scene, and he, you know, sort of struck up a conversation. Who, you know, he knew that I was Jock Mahoney's stepdaughter, and told me about Jock, and asked me if I wanted to come on an interview the next day.
3:15.
When I go to the beach, if I go with girls, and I don't know any boys there, the girls don't go in the water, you know, because they'll fizz up their hair or something, you know. And so I have to go in by myself, and that's not any fun, because, you know, you can't tell anybody what you just caught. If you just caught the wave, you got killed or something, so you talk to yourself, and that's not interesting. So, unless there's boys there, or my boyfriend, then it's not any fun. I just by myself.
Then they called me towards I guess it was the end of that summer, and said, you got it. And it was for, obviously, Gidget.
You see before you me, Gidget. For 15.5 years, my life was a complete and total ick. But then, on the 23rd of June, two things happened. I fell in love with two things. Jeff, my moon doggy, and surfing.
The first time I became aware of Gidget was in this wonderful movie, I thought, that Sandra Dee was Gidget. And I thought she was wonderful. And it was a few years before I actually became my own version of Gidget. And when I saw it, oh man, I thought it was so good and very romantic to me, the whole notion of that character. I think what they turned the series into was different than the film. I mean, the series turned out to be a relationship between a father and a daughter, and that was really a wonderful time for me to explore something that I didn't really feel that I had ever had. It wasn't really close like that with either of my fathers for various reasons. And so Don Porter kind of became that for me.
I'm deeply sorry. You're right, I should have called.
Well, it doesn't matter now, Daddy. Just as long as you're okay and safe and healthy and alive. And stay that way. Oh, Daddy, please don't ever let anything happen to you.
He was just wonderful with me. He really took care of me. First of all, he respected me, and he didn't treat me like, who are you, you newcomer? But more than that, he was such a loving, gentle, sweet, caring man that when he would see people come at me in some hurtful way, he would protect me. For instance, we would have read-throughs. We'd sit at the table and read through what was coming up. And I was terrified of that because I felt I was not a good cold reader, and I just was really frightened. I would come to a word I couldn't say. And many times that would happen. And many times it would happen because I got so nervous. I remember some of the words that hung me up, were simple ones that I didn't know what they meant at the time. But it so profoundly left an effect on me. I remember what words they were: mundane, symbiotic, and I would stumble over them and say them the wrong way, and everybody would laugh. And everybody would laugh because it was charming, I guess. But it wasn't funny to me. It was hurtful and humiliating. And so Don would sit next to me after a while, and when he would sense a word coming, he'd say it before I had to say it. So if it was like symbiotic, for instance, and I'd say, he'd say symbiotic. And he would do things like that.
Frances?
Oh, hello, Daddy.
Francie, you're plotting.
I am what?
That proves it. Whenever you get theatrical, my radar reacts.
We did one season of Gidget. Well, it was essentially one season, but in those days, one season was like 38 shows. Now one season is 13 or something, and it was a long span of work there. We did not shoot 3-camera, obviously. We shot, regular, whatever you call it, 1 camera.
I have a very important day tomorrow.
What are you doing?
Going to the beach.
It was so exciting. There was so much adrenaline. I was so at this high level of adrenaline. And if you ever look at the work, it's like, because there was so much energy. I had so much energy. It was hard to ever sit down. And I remember that the feeling after every day's work was just how much my feet hurt.
Party? When is it? Who's invited? How
Norma Ray has been working since she was 16. She's been a mother since she was 18. She's been on her own since she was 20. Norma Ray is a survivor, and for the first time in her life, she's got a chance to become something more.
Good morning, Wachowski Textile Workers Union of America.
A winner.
Good morning.
Never met a Jew before.
How you doing?
Fish out of water down here.
This is not exactly my native habitat.
If I joined up with you, would I lose my job?
No way.
I was never a very good Girl Scout. I'll go along with you.
You're the fish I wanted to hook.
20th Century Fox presents Norma Ray.
Norma, you got the biggest mouth in this mill. Give us a longer break. Give us more smoking time.
Do it, now shut up.
If you were in the State Department, we'd be at war.
Reuben, I think you like me.
Did you ever sleep with him?
No, but he's in my head.
You're going too far now, Norma. This here is our home.
How am I going too far?
There's a bunch of black men in there. You're gonna get us in a whole lot of trouble.
I ain't never had any trouble with black men. The only trouble I ever had in my life was with white men.
Looks like you strayed off the reservation, Norma.
What the hell is going on around here?
They say she's made a porno movie with a local police officer.
I don't believe this.
Damn TV dinners, kids going around in dirty jeans. I'm going around, without! All together!
You know what I am. And you know that I believe it. It's standing up for what I think is right.
She's a free woman. Maybe you can live with it, maybe you can't.
This is the story of a woman with the courage to risk everything for what she knows is right.
Lady, I want you off the premises now.
I started this, and I'm gonna finish it.
I want you out of here right quick.
It's gonna take you, and the police department, and the National Guard to get me out of here.
Norma Ray.
In a time of hardship, she found strength.
I'm not selling my land, and I'm not giving my children over to anyone else to raise.
In a time of crisis, she found courage.
If we lose this place, I'm going to lose what's left of my family. I'm not going to let that happen.
Sally Field is a woman fighting for her children, for her land, for the greatest dream there is, the future. Places in the Heart, rated PG. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
What's the matter, Mama?
I'm dying, Forrest. Come on in, sit down over here.
Why are you dying, Mama?
It's my time. It's just my time. Oh, now. Don't you be afraid, sweetheart. Death is just a part of life. Something we're all destined to do. I didn't know it, but I was destined to be your mama. I did the best I could.
Well, you did good, Mama.
Well, I happen to believe you make your own destiny. You have to do the best with what God gave you.
What's my destiny, Mom?
You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
Mama always had a way of explaining things so I could understand them.
I will miss you, Forrest.
She had got the cancer and died on a Tuesday. I bought her a new hat with little flowers on it.